It's not a gap. It's a canyon. I'm looking at this analysis from Kevin Indig's growth memo dated February 2026, and I honestly don't know how we call this Search Console anymore. He analyzed 450 million impressions, 450, and the conclusion? Google Search Console data is 75% incomplete.
Hold on. Incomplete is a loaded word. Google claims they filter queries for user privacy. If a query is too rare or contains PII, they scrub it from the report. That's standard operating procedure.
You really believe 3/4 of all impressions are private? Come on. Index data suggests that 75% figure is due to aggressive privacy filtering and then just missing data. The remaining 25% is massive bot inflation that Google isn't stripping out correctly. If you're making decisions based on GSC right now, you are effectively flying the plane while looking through a keyhole.
Well, if the data visibility is bad, the performance metrics might be worse. We need to talk about what Ryan Law published over on the Ahrefs blog. You remember back in April 2025, they flagged that AI overviews were reducing clicks to top-ranking content by about 34%?
Yeah, I remember. Google denied it, said the ecosystem was healthy. What's the update?
It's trending in the wrong direction. Ryan's new data shows AI overviews are now reducing clicks by 58%. That is a majority share of the click curve, Sam. Gone. As the rollout hit more countries and languages, the click-through rate didn't stabilize. It collapsed.
So, let me get this straight. According to Indig, I can't see 75% of my impressions in GSC. And according to Ahrefs, the clicks I can track are down nearly 60% because the AI is answering the user directly on the SERP. This isn't an attribution problem anymore. It's an existential crisis for organic traffic.
Which brings us to the tactical response. We can't just mourn the traffic. Glenn Alsop, also writing for Ahrefs, put out a framework on how to actually monitor this visibility. Since you can't rely on GSC, they're pushing for tracking AI visibility using custom prompts. He's arguing we need to stop tracking keywords and start tracking conversational threats.
But Glenn admits in that very same piece that AI responses are totally inconsistent. He explicitly says cited URLs change from 1 minute to the next. How am I supposed to build a monthly report for a client when the ranking metric has the shelf life of a banana? If the AI cites us at 9 a.m. and competitors at 9:05 a.m., that's not data. That's noise.
It's volatility, Sam, but it's the only signal we have left. Glenn's point is that requests are becoming more detailed, occurring in the middle of longer conversations. If you aren't monitoring the prompt strings, you're optimizing for a static search bar that doesn't exist anymore. The fragmentation of the search journey is what keeps me up at night, Sam. I was watching the latest Whiteboard Friday over on Moz, and Julia Pinozzo hit on something that we usually gloss over. She's talking about behavioral data, but not just the click-through rates we see in Search Console. She's actively mapping this to neuromarketing metrics and the fact that the user journey is bleeding into socials and LLMs.
Neuromarketing metrics. Great. Just what I needed. Another layer of abstraction. Look, Alex, I respect the science, but most brands I audit still haven't figured out how to attribute a basic conversion in GA4. If we start telling them to analyze conversational queries across LLMs, their heads are going to explode.
But you can't ignore the shift. Julia points out that search behavior has fundamentally changed in the last 12 months. We're seeing AI overviews, organic product carousels, informational and transactional queries are blurring. If users are searching conversationally, your static keyword list is dead. You need to be looking at the diagnostic level of data.
I'll agree on the conversational part. People aren't typing best shoes. They're asking complex questions. But let's ground this. If you look at the piece C. Kwan Ong wrote for the Ahrefs blog recently, the reality is still brutal on the local level. He's talking about Google Maps SEO.
Right. The pizza near me scenario.
Exactly. The Ahrefs data shows that simply having a verified Google business profile is table stakes. It means nothing for ranking. The biggest misconception is that proximity is the only ranking factor. It's not. You can be the closest plumber in London, but if you're not in that top 3 map pack, you don't exist. And why aren't you there? Because your behavioral signals, the same stuff Moz is talking about, are weak.
That's the synthesis, isn't it? Moz is saying analyze the behavior across channels to understand intent. Ahrefs is saying apply that rigor to local because proximity isn't a safety net anymore. If your competitors are stealing customers, it's because they understand the signals Google wants, not just the geography.
Precisely. So stop worrying about neuromarketing concepts if you haven't fixed your foundational signals. If you aren't ranking for a pizza near me, don't worry about LLM optimization yet.
Fair point. So here is the marching order for this week. First, go read that Moz piece and audit your diagnostic tools. Are you actually seeing the conversational shift in your own query data? Second, check your local presence against the Ahrefs checklist. Being verified is not a strategy. It's a prerequisite.
Verify your data, not just your profile. Get to work.